A woman's scream suddenly rang out in the dilapidated house. I groggily opened my eyes and saw a disheveled girl half lying on the bed, weakly bracing herself against my chest. My head felt like it was splitting apart. Countless unfamiliar memories flooded into my mind like scenes from a movie. I was stunned for quite a while before I realized it. I had transmigrated, and my soul had entered someone else's body. In my previous life, I was hit and sent flying by a car while walking down the road. When I woke up, I had become this guy in front of me named Zhao Tsong, nicknamed Zhao Xiaowu. Behind my back, everyone called me a little bastard. I'm only 18 this year. Judging from the memories, the original owner of this body was an ignorant good-for-nothing who spent all day hanging around with local hoodlums from the nearby villages. The family had suffered a lot because of him, and even several of his sister's marriages were affected. The girl on the bed is named Zhang Wenxiu, nicknamed Xiuxiu, the same age as me. This girl is really beautiful, with an oval face, big eyes, and slightly upturned corners of her eyes. A classic vixen-like beauty. The original owner had once rescued her from a hooligan in the neighboring village. And from then on, Xiuxiu became the person in this world, besides his family, who treated him the best. That said, the original owner hadn't saved her out of pure kindness either. He simply had his eye on her too. Today, the original owner had been drinking and came stumbling over to look for Xiuxiu. It just so happened that no one was home. Her father had gone up the mountain to hunt, and her eldest brother had gone to work in the fields for work points. The moment the original owner saw her, he couldn't control himself, and immediately started getting handsy. At this point in the memory, I suddenly sat up from the floor. Xiuxiu screamed again in fright, clutching her chest tightly. I couldn't bother with her right now. My head hurt so badly it felt like it was about to explode. I slammed my head hard against the edge of the bed a few times before I could barely sort out the situation. I had transmigrated. I really had transmigrated. Staggering, I ran back home, and as soon as I entered, I saw a haggard middle-aged woman starting a fire to cook in the yard. "This is my mom, Sun Yueqing. Xiaowu, where did you go? All you do every day is run around everywhere, and you don't even know to work in the fields for work points. What happened to your head?" She was scolding me, but the moment she saw the blood on my head, her tone immediately turned panicked. I rushed into the house, shut the door, and sat on the bed in a daze. Behind the door hung a handwritten yellow almanac sheet, and on it was written, April 25th, 1976. 1976, an era when people still had to earn work points. There came a knock from outside. "Xiaowu, dinner's ready." "What's wrong with your head? Is it serious?" I opened the door and went out. On the small wooden table in the yard were 4 bowls of thin porridge and a small dish of pickles. There were 2 more people by the table, my dad Zhao Dezhu and my 4th sister Zhao Tao. I looked at the porridge in the bowl and froze. It was almost entirely soup, with only a few grains of rice settled at the bottom. Then I looked at everyone else's bowls. My mom's and my sister's were all soup, while dad's and mine had a few more grains of rice. "Mom, are we out of rice at home? This little bit isn't enough to fill me up." I couldn't help speaking up. My mom and my sister both turned to look at Zhao Dezhu. Zhao Tao couldn't hold back her anger. Dad took all the grain to Grandma's house, and even sent over this month's work point money. He gave it all to them. Then what are we supposed to eat? I nearly jumped up. Zhao Dezhu finally spoke. "Your grandparents are old. They can't work the fields or earn work points anymore. If I don't provide for them, who will?" "Dad, that's not right. Grandpa and Grandma don't have only one son. They also have eldest uncle and third uncle. Why is it that no one else has to give anything, and they only come asking our family?" Zhao Tao shot back. "What does a little girl like you know? You worthless loser." Zhao Dezhu spoke really harshly. Zhao Tao's eyes reddened. I poured the porridge from my bowl into my mom's and my sister's bowls. "If I don't get enough to eat in the future, I'll go make a scene at Grandma's house." After saying that, I went back to my room and took a careful look at the calendar hanging behind the door. Wenjiatai Commune Lanhuaga calendar. Lanhuagu. I recognized it. This is in the same county as my hometown in my previous life, in the western mountain area of Wanqing County, Anding City, Jibei Province. In my previous life, I had even come nearby to have fun before, but the changes now were far from ordinary. At last I knew where I was. In the yard, my sister left right after finishing her porridge, completely ignoring Zhao Dezhu. My mom drank half a bowl of porridge clean, and only after putting down the bowl did she speak, her voice trembling. "Zhao Dezhu, I've been with you for over 20 years. I've shown filial respect to your parents above and taken care of the children below. I haven't wronged your Zhao family. But what have you done? I won't say anything about giving money to the elderly, they're your parents. But now you've taken all the grain away. What are the rest of us supposed to eat?" She suddenly burst into tears. I'm hungry, I'm hungry. Our family doesn't have any grain left at all. Even if you don't think about me, you should at least think about Xiaoxi and Xiaowu. They're still children. Zhao Dezhu stammered, unable to say anything. My mom had always been gentle and soft-spoken. This was the first time she'd gotten this angry. At 4 in the afternoon, the sun was slanting westward. After sleeping for a while, I felt much more refreshed. I hadn't eaten lunch, and my stomach was growling with hunger. When I looked up, I saw the slingshot hanging behind the door, made from a wooden fork and polished smooth and glossy. I took it down and examined it. It was quite finely made. The rubber band had good elasticity, and the grip was the right thickness too. I tucked the slingshot away and headed out. Lanhuagu was a village deep in the mountains, rich in natural resources, with plenty of wild animals and medicinal herbs. A small river ran through the middle of the village, flowing into Longmen Reservoir northwest of Wanqing County. In my previous life, I'd gone fishing at the reservoir before. During the rainy season, the water stretched so far you couldn't see the edge, and fish over a meter long were common. When the water overflowed during heavy rain, fish would all get washed into the cornfields, and lots of people would drive 3-wheeled vehicles over to pick them up. But right now I wasn't in the mood to run that far. Filling my stomach came first. I walked all the way toward the mountains. There were quite a few birds of all kinds, but they were too small and not worth going after. Just as I was leaving the village, I saw a pair of turtle doves cooing in a tree, about the same size as pigeons. Those would do. I quietly crept under the tree and took out a pebble I'd picked up by the river from my pocket, pinched it in the leather pouch, raised the slingshot with my left hand, and slowly and steadily pulled back the band with my right. Smack! Of the 2 turtle doves in the tree, only one remained. The other had been startled and flown away. I had hit the fatter male. I walked under the tree to pick up the turtle dove, and just as I bent down and got it in my hand, an electronic synthesized voice suddenly rang out in my mind. Ding! Detected that the host has captured prey. Activating the super invincible hunting system. Activation complete. Congratulations, host, on hunting 1 turtle dove. You are awarded 5 hunting points. Hunting points can be used to contract animals as pets. Contracting special type pets can grant corresponding ability enhancements, and the amount of improvement depends on the pet's special traits. Different wild prey yield different amounts of hunting points. This was followed by a simple panel. Hunting points, 5. Contract beasts, none. I let out a breath, finally understanding. Every transmigrator gets a cheat ability, and mine is this hunting system. Since it's a hunting system, it definitely has something to do with hunting. Since I don't want to work in the fields for work points anyway, I might as well give this system a proper try. I continued deeper into the mountains, and in another 10 minutes, I brought down 2 more turtle doves and 1 black magpie. The 2 turtle doves gave 10 hunting points, and the black magpie gave 6, bringing the total to 21. I had thought this amount would be enough to contract a pet, but who knew it wasn't that simple at all. The second turtle dove was hit directly on the head by the slingshot and died on the spot, giving only hunting points and no contract option. By the third one, I'd gotten smarter and deliberately aimed for the wing, so it was still flapping on the ground after it fell. The moment I grabbed it, the system prompted that I was awarded 5 hunting points, and immediately after that another message appeared. Contract female turtle dove requires 20 points. Contract? 20 points? Catching one only gives 5 points, and contracting it costs 20? I couldn't help cursing. Right now I only had 15 hunting points, not enough. I could only carry this injured turtle dove in my hand as well, and before long it bled to death. Turning grief and anger into strength, I kept pushing deeper into the woods. After not going very far, I saw a very large bird's nest high in a big tree, built entirely from black twigs. It was a black magpie's nest. No other bird would build a nest so high and so conspicuously. I waited under the tree for only a few minutes when a big black magpie flew in from the mountains. Its body was black and white, and its tail was long and straight. Compared with the turtle dove in my hand, it was about as big as 2 turtle doves. Nice and fat. The black magpie's scientific name is magpie. It's aggressive and holds grudges. I've heard of and seen it attack people. But I couldn't worry about that right now. Filling my stomach came first. I quietly shifted my body a little farther out, fixed my eyes on the big bird at the top of the tree, raised the slingshot, loaded the pebble, and pulled back the band. Whoosh! The black magpie at the treetop looked as if it had been struck by a heavy blow, and dropped straight down. Halfway down, it suddenly started flapping its wings. Only one wing could move, and it glided crookedly off into the distance to land. How could a duck that was already in my mouth still fly away? I hurried after it, But when I reached where it had landed, I couldn't find any sign of the magpie. No way, it still got away. Just as I was about to turn back, the corner of my eye caught a flash of black in the grass. I stopped and slowly crept over. Before I could get close, a large bird suddenly flapped up from the grass. It was the very one from before. I couldn't let it get away again this time. I dashed forward a few steps and lunged, pinning the black magpie tightly in my arms. Ouch! 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 It was biting me to death. The thing twisted its head hard to bite my hand after being caught. Pain or not, I refused to let go. So fat, heavier than 2 turtle doves. The system prompt sounded again. Captured a black and white magpie. Rewarded with 6 hunting points. Current total 21 points. A contract requires 30 points. Do you want to contract it? I was about to go crazy. Why is contracting a pet so hard? No choice. I could only carry it in my hand like before. This one wasn't badly hurt, just a broken wing. It wouldn't die anytime soon, and it kept twisting its head to try to bite me. I weighed it in my hand. 3 turtle doves plus this big magpie came to nearly 4 gene, enough to eat. I decided to head home first. But halfway there, I suddenly saw a hen pheasant lying in the grass. When it saw a person, it neither flew nor ran, just kept its head down and hid there without moving. If my eyesight weren't so good, I wouldn't have spotted it from far away. I planned to get a little closer and use my slingshot. But the hen pheasant still didn't move, just huddled there stubbornly. Could it be trying to hide in plain sight from me? Zhaotsong couldn't help making up a random remark in his heart. When Zhaotsong got to within only 3 meters of the hen pheasant, it started to grow uneasy. Its body began trembling slightly, yet it still didn't fly away. Its strange behavior left Zhaotsong very puzzled. But he didn't dare go any farther, afraid of scaring off this chicken meat that was practically in his mouth. He quietly took the slingshot out of his pocket, then gently raised it and loaded a stone, and fired it without hesitation. Whoosh! This time he didn't dare act cocky. He switched his target directly to the hen pheasant's head. If the stone hit the hen pheasant's body, it really might not kill the hen pheasant in one shot. If it didn't kill it and instead let it run away, Zhaotsong would cry himself to death. The small stone struck the hen pheasant squarely on the head. Smack! The only sound was a short cluck from the hen pheasant. Cluck! It flapped its wings twice and then stopped moving. Zhaotsong immediately ran over excitedly and lifted the hen pheasant straight out of the grass nest. As soon as he picked up the pheasant, he understood why it hadn't flown away. Under the hen pheasant were 7 pheasant eggs, and 2 of them had just hatched. The chicks looked like they had only just hatched, and the feathers on their bodies weren't even dry yet. What a sin. If I'd known you had babies, I wouldn't have shot you. Just as Zhaotsong was regretting it, an electronic prompt sounded in his mind again. Ding! Congratulations, host, for killing 1 hen pheasant. Reward to host, 10 hunting points. Congratulations, host, for obtaining a nest of pheasant eggs. Reward to host, 7 hunting points. Host's current hunting points, 38 points. Would you like to contract a pet? Flower magpie contract cost, 30 points. Chick contract cost, 10 points. Zhaotsong chose without hesitation to contract the flower magpie. As for the chicks, there was no need for him to contract them right now. First, he didn't know whether he could even raise them successfully. Second, the chicks would need time to grow up, and even once grown, what could they help him do? So he chose without hesitation to contract the flower magpie. Zhaotsong calculated that after contracting the flower magpie, he would still have 8 hunting points left. Then he said to the panel without hesitation, contract the flower magpie. Ding! Congratulations, host, you have successfully contracted 1 black and white magpie. 30 hunting points have been deducted, and the host has 8 hunting points remaining. The moment the electronic synthesized voice sounded, Zhaotsong felt as if a strange connection had formed between him and the flower magpie. He could roughly sense the flower magpie's emotional fluctuations, and the black and white magpie no longer struggled fiercely. Instead, it stayed very docile in his hand, even showing a trace of delighted emotion. Maybe I should let go and see if it'll run away. Thinking this, Zhaotsong hesitantly loosened the hand holding the flower magpie, and the flower magpie did not choose to leave his palm. He could clearly feel the flower magpie's emotions. It had become excited, and even the injury on its wing had improved a lot. The wing that had been drooping the whole time was now slowly drawing back in. Zhaotsong was shocked beyond measure. Could it be that after contracting it, its injury got better? When he thought of this, Zhaotsong still found it hard to believe. But after looking at the flower magpie's injury, he had no choice but to accept it. Feeling the flower magpie's joyful emotional fluctuations, Zhaotsong was also very happy. He gently placed the flower magpie, which had not completely recovered yet, into the large pocket of his jacket and said to it, "Stay here obediently for now. When I get home, I'll take a good look at your wound." The black and white magpie seemed to understand Zhao Cong's words, and really did stay obediently in his pocket without moving, as docile as a little servant waiting for its master's orders. Seeing how obedient it looked, and thinking of the flower magpie's local name back in his hometown, Zhao Cong said directly to it, "From now on, your name is Xiao Qiao." The flower magpie nodded happily in his pocket. Caw caw. Its slightly hoarse cry nearly scared Zhao Cong silly. Damn, what kind of awful sound is that? He had forgotten just how unpleasant a magpie's call was, but he was also good at comforting himself, and quickly thought, it's fine, it's fine. No one is perfect, and no bird is perfect either. After saying that, he gently patted his pocket, carrying 3 turtle doves and 1 hen pheasant as he prepared to head home. After only taking 2 steps, he suddenly remembered that there were still 5 pheasant eggs on the ground and 2 newly hatched chicks. He hurried back at once, put the 2 newly hatched chicks into another pocket of his jacket, and carefully placed the remaining 5 pheasant eggs into his pants pocket. The whole way, Zhao Cong walked like a duck. He didn't dare walk too fast, afraid that he might accidentally crush the 5 pheasant eggs in his pocket. He made it back to the village in this awkward manner, and as soon as he entered, he ran into Xuanzi from the village. "Yo, Xiao Wu, went bird hunting, did you? And you've even got a big pheasant." When Xuanzi saw the birds in Zhao Xiaowu's hands, his expression was teasing at first, but when he noticed the big pheasant as well, his teasing expression turned into envy. Zhao Xiaowu wasn't afraid of being seen. Hunting birds was perfectly normal. As for the big pheasant, he wasn't worried that anyone would have any ideas about it either. After all, there were quite a few hunters in the village, and these hunters often went up the mountain to hunt every so often. They would also bring back wild rabbits, pheasants, and the like for a rare good meal and to improve their living conditions. "Brother Xuanzi, off work already?" Zhao Xiaowu replied warmly. That single sentence left Xuanzi stunned, thinking to himself, did this little bastard turn over a new leaf? Usually when I talk to him, he can barely be bothered, so why is he so enthusiastic today? How could he know that the Zhao Xiaowu before him was no longer the old Zhao Xiaowu? After replying to Xuanzi, Zhao Cong turned and headed home. On the way, his strange way of walking attracted quite a bit of attention from the villagers. "Hey, look at the little bastard's walking posture. It really is strange. Did he get his eggs stuck?" A middle-aged woman around 40 blurted this out without the slightest shame. As soon as she said that, several young women and young wives nearby instantly flushed bright red. Zhao Cong paid no attention to their gossip and headed straight for the kitchen as soon as he got home. At that moment, Sun Yueqin was in the kitchen tending the fire, and a small cloth bag of sorghum grain sat on the chopping board. She had just borrowed that sorghum grain from their neighbor Zhang Xiufan, and her face was full of worry, not knowing how they were going to manage in the days ahead. Just as Sun Yueqin was fretting, the corner of her eye caught sight of Zhao Xiaowu walking in. She didn't look closely and turned her head and started scolding. "You little bastard, where did you run off to again? Your 4th sister and I came back from work and didn't see you anywhere. Look at you, all grown up. And you still don't know to go work in the fields and earn some work points. Our family doesn't even have any rice left. How are we supposed to live from now on?" Suddenly, her words stopped. Her eyes stared fixedly at the big wild pheasant Zhao Xiaowu was carrying. Zhao Cong didn't pay any attention to the harsh words from his mother. He smugly lifted up the pheasant and the turtle doves in his hands and gave them a shake. "Here, look what this is." Sun Yueqin's head swayed up and down along with Zhao Xiaowu's hand. Before Zhao Xiaowu could show off a little more, Sun Yueqin stood up and rushed to him in a few quick strides. Her fierce manner made Zhao Cong shrink his neck instinctively, thinking, I just hunted some game to help support the family, and I'm still going to get hit for it. But instead of his mother's slap, which he braced for with his head tucked in, he suddenly felt his hands grow lighter. The pheasant and 3 turtle doves he had been carrying were snatched away by Sun Yueqin in the blink of an eye. Holding the pheasant by the neck, Sun Yueqin looked at Zhao Cong in disbelief. "You caught this?" Her tone was full of disbelief. Zhao Cong also knew that his former self had really been a complete bastard, fooling around all day with eating, drinking, and having fun, and running around with the local hoodlums from the nearby villages, never having contributed anything to this family. But now that he was here, this family would definitely live well. He nodded proudly and took out his slingshot as well. Sun Yueqin looked at the slingshot in his hand and understood at once. Her face changed as quickly as turning a page, immediately taking on a completely different expression. "Oh my son, are you tired? You've worked hard. Come, quick. Quick, sit down. Let mom see if you're hurt anywhere. As she spoke, she pressed Zhao Tsong down onto a small stool, her rough palms feeling him over. And when she saw no sign of injury, she was finally relieved. Then, beaming with joy, she carried the pheasant and turtle doves out into the yard and called for Zhao Tao. Taozi, come out here. Zhao Tao came out of the inner room covered in dust, saying unwillingly, Mom, what is it now? I just got back, and I'm still tired. But very quickly she could no longer continue. Her eyes became exactly like Sun Yueqin's before, staring fixedly at that big wild pheasant. It's a pheasant. Where did this pheasant come from? Although she was asking where it had come from, the craving in her eyes was impossible to hide. Probably even if Sun Yueqin said it had been stolen, she would still eat it first without the slightest hesitation and talk about the rest later. Sun Yueqin said somewhat proudly, Where else could it have come from? Your brother caught it up in the mountains. As she spoke, she also tilted her head toward Zhao Tsong, looking as though she were making a grand introduction. Zhao Tao was full of disbelief and thought, Has this little brat really changed? In the past, let alone going up the mountain, he wouldn't even go to the fields. But since her mother said it, she believed it and no longer cared about the weariness in her body from just getting off work. She ran to her mother's side, took the pheasant and turtle doves, and went to pluck the feathers. Seeing how impatient she was, Sun Yueqin hurried after her, calling out, You silly girl, go boil some water first. Use hot water to scald the feathers loose. Hey, got it. Only then did Zhao Tao put the pheasant and turtle doves on the ground and go to the stove to boil water. Seeing his mother and sister like this, Zhao Tsong felt deeply saddened. What kind of life had the family fallen into? How long had it been since they'd eaten meat? But when he thought of the system he had just activated, he felt full of hope for the future again. How could I forget about that? As if suddenly remembering something, he hurried into the house and began rummaging through boxes and cabinets again. Before long, he brought out a small wooden box from his mother's room. The box wasn't big, just a square box about 20 centimeters on each side, and it had no lid. This wooden box had previously been used by his mother to hold odds and ends like needles and thread. Zhao Tsong dumped those messy things all at once onto the Kong, not even thinking about whether a needle might fall onto the bed and prick his father or mother. Sun Yueqin, who had been happily standing in the yard looking at the pheasant and turtle doves, suddenly saw her good-for-nothing son bring out the wooden box she used to store miscellaneous items. What are you taking that for, Xiaowu? Sun Yueqin asked, her face full of confusion. Mom, look what this is. Zhao Tsong carefully took out the 2 little pheasant chicks from his pocket. Chirp, chirp. Chitter, chitter. As soon as the little pheasant chicks came out of the darkness of the pocket, they started chirping noisily. When Sun Yueqin saw the 2 little things, she cried out in surprise. These are pheasant chicks. Looks like they just hatched. Where did you get them from? Zhao Tsong chuckled and didn't say where he had gotten the pheasant chicks. After laughing, he was about to put the 2 chicks in his hands into the wooden box. Sun Yueqin hurriedly stopped him and said, How can pheasant chicks be put in this box? If they poop in there, wouldn't that ruin it? As she spoke, she looked around outside for a bit and found a shabby carrying basket. The carrying baskets where Zhao Tsong and the others lived were different from the back baskets in the south. The opening of the basket here was larger, and it wasn't very tall either, only a little over 30 centimeters high. Sun Yueqin set this shabby, bottomless basket on the ground, then took the 2 pheasant chicks from Zhao Tsong's hands and put them inside. These 2 pheasant chicks are still small and can't jump yet. In a few days, once they're a little bigger, this basket won't be able to keep them pinned in. Sun Yueqin didn't know whether she was talking to herself or speaking to Zhao Tsong. When she turned her head, she suddenly discovered Zhao Tsong holding both hands out in front of her. One look, and she was delighted again. You found a pheasant nest, didn't you? That's right. She saw 5 pheasant eggs cradled in Zhao Xiaowu's hands, being shown to her. Zhao Xiaowu nodded and said, That's right. I found a pheasant nest, and these eggs will probably hatch soon too. Hearing Zhao Xiaowu say that, Sun Yueqin was overjoyed. In times like these, chickens, ducks, and geese were valuable things. Mainly because most people were having trouble even getting enough to eat. So few people raised such animals. But pheasants were much easier to raise. After all, their disease resistance was far stronger than that of ordinary domestic chickens. Pheasants also ate a wider variety of food. Sometimes even a handful of grass would do. Beaming, Sun Yueqin took the 5 pheasant eggs and carefully placed them into the wooden box Zhao Tsong had found earlier, lining it with quite a bit of soft wheat straw. Mom, can we have that stewed pheasant tonight, okay? Zhao Cong was really hungry, mainly because the original owner's body was rather thin and couldn't stand hunger well. Sun Yuqin was truly happy, and when she heard her son wanted to eat chicken, she said without even raising her head, "Okay, okay, okay. Tonight we'll have stewed pheasant, and I'll go find some potatoes too. Tonight we'll have chicken stewed with potatoes and steamed sorghum rice." "That's great. Mom, are you serious?" Old Fourth Zhao Tao couldn't help asking from the side when she heard what Sun Yuqin said. Sorghum rice wasn't very tasty. In his previous life, Zhao Cong had never eaten sorghum rice, and this meal of sorghum rice was also his first time trying it. Sorghum had to have its hard outer husk ground off with a stone mill, leaving only the white round grains inside. After adding water and steaming the sorghum, it wasn't sticky like the white rice of later generations. On the contrary, once steamed, sorghum was very loose, and it tasted somewhat astringent and a bit gritty. Without anyone needing to say it, Zhao Cong knew this sorghum had been stored for quite a few years. Although Zhao Cong didn't find it tasty, Sun Yuqin, Zhao Tao, and Zhao Dezhu ate with great enjoyment. Their family hadn't eaten a proper dry meal in a long time, and in the past, what they ate was either thin rice gruel or mush made from wild vegetables. It wasn't that every family in this era was as hard-pressed as theirs. Rather, their family's grain had never really been enough. Zhao Dezhu, the father of the family, gave all the work points he earned to Zhao Cong's grandparents. The grain their family ate depended entirely on the work points earned by Sun Yuqin and Zhao Tao in exchange for it. Since the two of them were women, they earned fewer work points, and so they got even less grain in return. They made a whole enamel basin of pheasant stewed with potatoes. The chicken was a little burnt, but that wasn't because Sun Yuqin's cooking was bad. Mainly because Zhao Cong's family had no oil, they had to rely entirely on the little bit of fat rendered from the chicken to make this dish. But the taste was still pretty good. Zhao Cong also ate quite a lot of the slightly burnt-tasting chicken. This meal directly used up most of the pheasant Zhao Cong had brought back, leaving only a little shredded chicken and a few potato chunks in the basin. And that was only because Sun Yuqin forcefully stopped them from eating it all. Otherwise, how could there have been anything left? As for those 3 turtle doves, Zhao Tao had already cleaned them up long ago, gutted them, and plucked them clean. While cooking, she had already hung the 3 clean turtle doves above the stove. The smoke and heat from this meal would be enough to preserve the 3 turtle doves for a few more days. Actually, after removing the innards and feathers, there wasn't much left of the 3 turtle doves. But even a fly's leg is still meat. When the time came, stir-frying them with wild vegetables would make them fragrant again. After finishing the meal, Zhao Cong got up and left, without saying a word about helping his mother and sister clean up the pots and pans in the kitchen. Sun Yuqin and Zhao Tao were already used to Zhao Xiaowu acting like this, and they were still very happy today. After all, they hadn't eaten meat for a long time, and they had really eaten quite a bit of it today. Returning to his room, Zhao Cong lay down on the bed and began thinking about how to make money. He knew the family's situation. They were truly living meal to meal. On the way back, he had already seen the situation in the kitchen. Today's meal had used up another half of that small amount of sorghum rice, and the little sorghum left probably would only be enough for their family to drink porridge for 2 more meals. Thinking of this, he thought even harder about what he should do in the future to earn more money. Just as he was racking his brains, Xiao Qiao, the magpie he had settled in the room, suddenly cried out. Caw-caw. The sound was very loud, directly interrupting Zhao Cong's train of thought. He turned his head and looked at Xiao Qiao. What's wrong, Xiao Qiao? He saw the magpie Xiao Qiao staring at the wall, hopping about as if it wanted to dash out. Following the magpie's gaze, Zhao Cong saw that a bee was crawling on the wall. Hey, I wondered what it was. Xiao Qiao, are you hungry and want to eat bugs? He didn't pay much attention to it. After all, it was spring right now. In the season of warm spring and blooming flowers, wasn't it perfectly normal to have bees? Suddenly, Zhao Cong froze. Bees, right. I can look for beehives and get honey. No matter what era it was, honey was a high-end product. As if he had discovered something incredible, Zhao Cong held the magpie Xiao Qiao in his hands and gave it a hard kiss. Xiao Qiao, you really are my lucky star. The magpie Xiao Qiao shook its little head hard, as if somewhat disgusted by Zhao Cong's saliva. It fluttered its wings once, as though they had almost fully recovered. Then, Zhao Cong began thinking about how he was going to get honey. He really didn't know much about finding wild bees. But Zhao Cong quickly remembered a trick he had learned from watching short videos on Douyin in his previous life. I can first look for hornets or wasps. Zhao Cong knew that wasp nests could be sold as medicinal materials, and hornets themselves were a kind of medicinal material. As far as he knew, wasp nests are neutral in nature and bitter, salty, and slightly sweet in flavor. They have high medicinal value, with effects such as antibacterial, hemostatic, and cardiotonic properties. And hornets themselves are a kind of medicinal material. They are warm in nature, sweet in flavor, and enter the liver and kidney meridians, with effects such as dispelling wind and dampness, relaxing the tendons and activating the collaterals, promoting blood circulation and removing blood stasis, reducing swelling and relieving pain, and tonifying the kidneys and strengthening yang. They are suitable for treating rheumatic pain, muscle and bone pain, weakness and soreness of the waist and knees, numbness of the limbs, traumatic injuries, and traumatic swelling and bruising. Clinically, they are mainly used in the treatment of diseases such as rheumatism, rheumatoid arthritis, and cervical spondylosis. Having found a breakthrough, Zhao Cong was very happy, and he rubbed the little head of the magpie Xiao Qiao. Xiao Qiao, have a good rest, and try to help me out in a big way tomorrow. Caw caw, Xiao Qiao cried twice, as if responding to Zhao Cong. Zhao Cong dug at his ears somewhat disgustedly, then lay down on the bed and fell into a deep sleep. He had been sleeping a lot these past 2 days, and he didn't know whether it was because his body was becoming stronger or because the original owner used to stay up late often. Early the next morning, Zhao Cong got up. In the yard, Zhao Dazhu and Sun Yueqin both looked at Zhao Cong with astonishment on their faces. The look in Zhao Dazhu's eyes as he gazed at Zhao Cong was somewhat strange. If Zhao Cong could hear what Zhao Dazhu was thinking, he would know exactly what it was. This little bastard, why did he suddenly get up so early? In the past, he wouldn't get out of bed until the sun was high in the sky. Zhao Tao, who had finished getting ready, also walked out of the inner room. Suddenly seeing her younger brother already up, she was very surprised too. She quickly walked to Zhao Cong's side, raised her hand, and placed the back of it against Zhao Cong's forehead. Xiao, what's wrong? Are you sick? Zhao Cong impatiently slapped away his fourth sister's arm. What are you doing, sis? I'm fine, Zhao Tao said doubtfully. If you're not sick, why did you suddenly get up so early? In the past, you used to sleep until noon. Zhao Xiaowu felt very embarrassed by Zhao Tao's words. But he also knew it was the original owner's fault and had nothing to do with him. Seeing his parents both looking at him, Zhao Cong chuckled and said, since there's nothing to do today anyway, I plan to go wander around the mountain and see if I can hunt something to bring back. Hearing that Zhao Xiaowu was going up the mountain to hunt again, Sun Yueqin said worriedly, there are too many wild animals deep in the mountains, and it's too dangerous. You absolutely mustn't wander into the deep mountains. Just look around at the foothills outside. Hearing his mother's earnest concern, Zhao Cong was deeply moved and quickly agreed. Mom, I know, don't worry. I'll just wander around outside the woods and won't go deep inside. Hearing her son say this, Sun Yueqin felt reassured, and she took care of Zhao Tao as they went out the door. After Zhao Dazhu, Sun Yueqin, and Zhao Tao had all left, Zhao Cong packed a few more tools before leaving home as well. This time he brought a slingshot, a net bag, a small knife, thin string, and a few turtle dove feathers from yesterday's catch. The magpie Xiao Qiao stood on Zhao Cong's shoulder, its big tail swaying back and forth along the way, while its little head kept turning from side to side. Zhao Cong was afraid it might be startled, so he kept soothing it. Before long, the man and bird left the village and arrived at the foot of the mountain. It could only be said that the natural environment in the 70s was truly excellent. He had just arrived at the foot of the mountain when he saw many birds. Zhao Cong casually shot down a sparrow, and as soon as the sparrow fell to the ground, the magpie Xiao Qiao flew over. Then it stood beside the sparrow, cawing non-stop, as if it were pointing out a direction to Zhao Cong. Zhao Cong unhurriedly walked over and casually took a few grains of sorghum out of his pocket, holding them out to the magpie Xiao Qiao's beak. Xiao Qiao picked up a grain of sorghum and swallowed it, seeming to smack its beak somewhat disdainfully, but it still kept eating. After the magpie Xiao Qiao finished a few grains of sorghum, only then did Zhao Cong pick up the sparrow from the ground. The moment he picked it up, the system notification sounded in his mind. Ding! Detected that the host has killed one sparrow, rewarding the host with 2 hunting points. Host hunting points. 10 points. The reason Zhao Cong shot down this sparrow was actually not to eat it. Today he was planning to look for 2 kinds of bees, wasps and hornets. He grabbed the dead sparrow by its feathers and gave a hard yank. The sparrow was immediately skinned, revealing the bright red meat inside. Honestly, after removing the feathers and skin, there was very little meat on a sparrow. Zhao Cong felt the whole sparrow wasn't even enough for a single bite. It'll do, I guess, he muttered to himself. The magpie Xiao Qiao tilted its head as it watched Zhao Cong fiddling around, and from time to time it let out 2 caws. Caw caw. Zhao Cong cut off the sparrow's 2 legs. Then he cut off another chunk from a meteor part. He chopped up all the rest and threw it to Xiao Qiao. The spotted magpie Xiao Qiao stood on the ground, pinning the meat with its claws while tearing at the sparrow meat hard with its beak. Very quickly, it tore off a small piece, then lifted its head and swallowed it. He had known before that magpies ate meat, and after trying it today, it really was true. After walking for a while, Zhao found a slightly elevated spot. He casually broke off a branch about 50 or 60 centimeters long from a nearby tree. He sharpened one end of the thin branch, then skewered on it the meat cut from the sparrow and stuck the branch into the ground, with the pointed end holding the sparrow meat aimed at the sky. Zhao then found a rock nearby and sat down on it, waiting in boredom. Before long, quite a few insects came over as if they had caught the scent. The first to arrive was a group of ants. They climbed up the branch to the top and then bit by bit tore at the minced meat. Zhao paid them no mind, since those ants couldn't take much meat anyway. After waiting a little longer, he suddenly heard a buzzing sound by his ear. He carefully looked around, and sure enough, a particularly large hornet had appeared around him. This hornet was several times larger than an ordinary wasp, and it looked very imposing, obviously not something to be messed with. Zhao became even more cautious, not daring to make the slightest sound. He even remembered to hold shut the beak of the spotted magpie Xiao Qiao, so it wouldn't make any noise. Beside him, Xiao Qiao seemed a little unhappy, tilting its head stiffly and trying to break free from Zhao Cong's clutches. The huge hornet flew around the area once, sensed no danger, and then slowly approached the piece of meat at the top of the branch. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Zhao Cong watched that huge hornet as it landed on the piece of meat. As its mouth parts kept opening and closing, it cut the meat into small chunks and swallowed them into its belly. Now, Zhao Cong muttered in his heart, then slowly stood up and took out the thin thread and feather he carried with him. As if it had noticed Zhao Cong's movement, the hornet flew up again, but it seemed reluctant to leave the meat on the ground. After flying up briefly, it slowly landed back on the meat and continued feasting heartily. When Zhao Cong saw the hornet take off, he didn't dare move. Only after the hornet landed on the meat again did he slowly tie one end of the thin thread to the feather. He then tied the other end of the thread into a loop. This loop was adjustable. As long as Zhao Cong pulled the two sides of the thread, it would tighten quickly. After preparing everything, he began to slowly approach this gluttonous hornet. Zhao Cong quietly walked up beside the hornet and gently slipped the loop at one end of the string around the hornet's waist. Gently, bit by bit, he tightened the thread. Perhaps sensing some discomfort, the hornet flew up again. But very soon, it landed on the meat once more. After slipping the loop onto the hornet, Zhao Cong slowly stepped back a few paces and finally let out a breath. He done. He chuckled, then sat down nearby and waited for the hornet to eat its fill. After a while longer, this hornet finally had enough. It slowly flew up and headed toward the distant mountain forest. Behind the hornet trailed a thin thread, and tied to it was a feather. That feather was a carefully selected turtle dove neck feather by Zhao Cong, gray-black in color and very eye-catching. Zhao Cong casually picked up the sparrow meat from the ground and followed the hornet for some distance. Seeing that he was about to lose track of it, he quickly took out Xiao Qiao and then tossed it into the sky. Xiao Qiao, go keep up with it. Very perceptive, Xiao Qiao chased after that feather, while Zhao Cong ran behind. Very soon, he lost track of both the hornet and the spotted magpie Xiao Qiao. But Zhao Cong was not worried, because he could feel that his connection with Xiao Qiao had not been severed. Zhao Cong continued in the direction where the hornet had disappeared for a while longer, when, just as he didn't know which way to go, cawing suddenly came from not far away. It was Xiao Qiao's cry. Zhao Cong immediately ran toward the direction the sound came from. After running another roughly 60 or 70 meters, he saw the spotted magpie Xiao Qiao on the fork of a large tree. Zhao Cong raised his hand and beckoned gently to Xiao Qiao. Xiao Qiao immediately flew down and landed on his hand. Xiao Qiao, where did that hornet go? Zhao Cong asked the spotted magpie in a low voice. Hearing its master's question, Xiao Qiao immediately jumped down from Zhao Cong's palm and hopped toward beneath a rock not far away. He followed Xiao Qiao over, and sure enough, in the soil beneath the rock he found a hole about as thick as a thumb. So this is the place. Zhao Cong immediately took out the net bag he carried with him, and after opening it, covered the mouth of the net bag over the hole Xiao Qiao had found. The moment the small net bag was placed over the hole, buzzing came from inside. They noticed me that quickly? Zhao Cong was a little shocked at how alert these hornets were. At the hole, 3 large hornets flew out at once. It seemed these 3 hornets were guarding the entrance of the nest. At this moment, Zhao Cong felt somewhat lucky. If they had noticed him as soon as he arrived, he definitely would have been stung by now. After all, these hornets were also called killer bees by the mountain folk. Some people could go into shock and die from being stung by this kind of bee even once. Fortunately, he had already covered the hole with the net bag. Even so, Zhao Cong remained very careful, afraid that 1 or 2 hornets might leak out from somewhere else. After securing the net bag over the hole, he quickly gathered some dry firewood nearby and built a fire beside the nest entrance. When Zhao Cong saw that the fire had grown much stronger, he quickly picked some green leaves nearby and threw them onto the fire, then covered the top with a little dirt. The fire, which had just been burning vigorously, immediately lost its open flames and began billowing thick smoke. Seeing this, Zhao Cong quickly found a larger leaf and fanned the rising thick smoke toward the hole. Buzz, 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 the sound of wings beating grew even louder. This time, Zhao Cong saw that no fewer than dozens of hornets had already appeared inside the net bag. Just to be safe, he himself also stood downwind of the thick smoke. Cough, cough. Although the smoke made him cough violently, it also effectively prevented any hornets that escaped from getting away. After more than 10 minutes, almost no hornets were flying out anymore. Zhao Cong roughly counted the hornets in the net bag. There were probably 200 or 300. He carefully tied up the mouth of the net bag. Inside, the hornets kept buzzing and flying around, occasionally crashing into the net bag with considerable force. Zhao Cong did not dig out the entire hornet nest. Although the hornet nest was also a kind of medicinal material, it had a certain degree of toxicity, and accidental ingestion or contact with the venom could cause poisoning. In traditional Chinese medicine, hornet nests have their own unique status and uses, and they have certain therapeutic effects on rheumatic pain, weakness and soreness of the lower back and knees, and injuries from falls or blows. But they are generally contraindicated for pregnant women and people with weak spleen and stomach. Zhao Xiaowu also knew that there must still be surviving hornets in the nest, but he did not intend to wipe them out completely, planning to come back later to harvest another batch. Just as Zhao Cong packed up the net bag and was about to leave, he suddenly saw on the ground that marked feather. He casually picked it up, and at the other end of the thread attached to the feather, that hornet was still tied on. It was just that the hornet was now on its last legs, looking as if it had been knocked unconscious by the thick smoke just now. Zhao Cong didn't know why this hornet had not entered the net bag. He didn't think too deeply about it, simply dangling the thread and observing the smoke-fainted hornet. Seeing that it had no ability to resist, Zhao Cong reached out and pinched the hornet's wings to bring it closer for a look. Suddenly, the electronic prompt sound of the system rang out in his mind. Ding! Detected that the host has captured a nest of hornets, rewarding the host with 10 hunting points. Host's current hunting points, 20 points. Ding! Contracting a hornet requires 5 hunting points. Do you want to contract it? Now it was Zhao Cong's turn to be surprised. Can insects be contracted too? Although Zhao Cong had questions in his heart, when he thought that contracting this hornet only required a few hunting points, he generously said, "Contract." The system quickly responded, "Congratulations, host, on successfully contracting the hornet as a pet. The host currently has 15 hunting points remaining." Zhao Cong also saw on the system panel, Contract Beast 1, Magpie Xiao Xiao. Contract Beast 2, Hornet, unnamed. Seeing the unnamed behind the hornet, Zhao Cong casually said, "System, let's call the hornet Hu Feng." As soon as Zhao Cong finished speaking, when he looked at the panel again, the name on it had already been changed. Contract Beast 1, Magpie Xiao Xiao. Contract Beast 2, Hornet Hu Feng. After contracting the hornet, Zhao Cong placed it on a thick leaf. Then he wrapped it up with the leaf and held it in his hand. The trip back was much faster. As he walked, he casually weighed the hornets in the net bag in his hand. These 200 to 300 hornets probably weighed 7 or 8 liang. That was really quite a lot. Zhao Cong also didn't know the current price of hornets. He planned to ask young Batsi, who often came to the village to buy wild goods, about the price after he got back. On the way back, Zhao Cong casually shot another 5 turtle doves. Carrying the 5 turtle doves in his hand, he happily returned home. By the time Zhao Cong got home, it was already close to noon. His 4th elder sister, Zhao Tao, was lighting the fire at home, getting ready to cook. When she suddenly saw the turtle doves and the net bag in Zhao Cong's hands, Zhao Tao immediately became excited. Little five, you brought back birds again." As she spoke, she reached out to take the things from Zhao Cong's hands. Zhao Cong then handed the turtle doves to his 4th sister. but he still kept hold of the net bag himself. You can't take this. It's full of hornets. Be careful not to get stung. When Zhao Tao heard little Five say it was full of hornets, she was startled too. Who in the countryside didn't know how fearsome hornets were? If things went badly, someone could even be stung to death by this kind of thing. But feeling the weight of the 5 turtle doves in her hands, Zhao Tao became happy again. I'll go clean up these 5 turtle doves first. Later, your sister will cook for you. Her words were still echoing in Zhao Tsong's ears when his 4th sister had already run off out of sight. He returned to his room, first tossed the net bag onto the ground, then opened the leaf in his hand, preparing to see how the newly contracted hornet was doing. The moment he opened the leaf, he saw that the unconscious hornet had already woken up and was lying obediently on the leaf. Zhao Tsong could now already sense his connection with the hornet and immediately began giving it commands in his mind. He made the hornet do quite a few movements, front, back, left, and right, and Zhao Tsong felt even more satisfied. Bored, Zhao Tsong stopped teasing the contracted hornet and began looking at the system panel in his mind. Zhao Tsong noticed that on the system panel in his mind, a button with a vision icon had suddenly appeared next to the hornet image. He curiously tapped it, and suddenly the panel in front of his eyes disappeared. The scene in his vision also became completely different from what he had been seeing just now. No, not completely different. At least he was still in this room. Huh, why can I see myself? Zhao Tsong was shocked to discover that in his field of vision, he could see himself standing in the room and looking around in panic. Then he looked down and suddenly discovered that under his feet were lush green leaves. This is the hornet's perspective? Only then did he realize that the vision icon let him enter the hornet's point of view. Doesn't that mean I'll basically have an invincible surveillance camera from now on? Zhao Tsong thought happily. Then Zhao Tsong chose to exit the hornet's perspective. Just as he exited, his 4th sister Zhao Tao's voice came from outside the door. Little Five, are you there? Time to eat. Hey, coming. The moment he heard it was time to eat, Zhao Tsong, with his king of eating physique, immediately answered and opened the door to go out. When he arrived at the small courtyard, the table, chairs, and benches had already been set out by his 4th sister. There were also 2 dishes on the table. One was knotweed pickles, and the other was wild vegetables stir-fried with turtle dove meat. Turtle dove meat was very tough, all lean meat, so it looked like the meat dish wasn't very oily either. Although Zhao Tsong found it unappealing, his 4th sister Zhao Tao was delighted. She happily set out the bowls and chopsticks while calling to their parents in the inner room. Dad, Mom, come out and eat, she shouted, and Zhao Dezhu and Sun Yueqin came out very quickly. But Sun Yueqin came out first, and Zhao Dezhu came out after. The 2 of them did not come out together. It seemed they were still sulking, and neither of them spoke to the other. Zhao Tsong didn't bother with it. In his view, Zhao Dezhu was not a very qualified father, but he still felt sorry for Sun Yueqin. And when he saw Sun Yueqin come out, he hurriedly let her sit down and handed her the bowl and chopsticks. Sun Yueqin felt very satisfied now. She had seen the changes in her son and felt greatly comforted. At the dinner table, everyone was eating sorghum porridge. Just like before, there was more grain in the bowls of Zhao Dezhu and Zhao Xiaowu, while the bowls of Sun Yueqin and Zhao Tao were almost all just soup. Seeing this, Zhao Tsong couldn't help but think to himself, this can't go on. Mother and 4th sister both have to work in the fields to earn work points. How can they possibly endure it by drinking only thin soup? He decided to go out again that afternoon and bring back more things. After hurriedly finishing the meal, aside from Zhao Tsong, the other 3 all went to the fields to work. Zhao Tsong returned to his room and checked the hornets in the net bag again. Seeing that they all looked full of energy, he felt relieved. He searched around the house again, and finally found a few more small net bags. Carrying his tools and bringing along the contracted magpie Xiao Qiao and the hornet, he headed out. Just after leaving the village, Zhao Tsong ordered the hornet to search for the nests of other swarms. After receiving the command, the hornet immediately spread its wings and flew toward the woods at the foot of the mountain. He followed it for a while and felt he was about to lose track of it, so he quickly told the hornet to fly slower. And so, following the hornet with stops and starts. Before long, he discovered the hornet had stopped on a tree trunk not far away. Zhao Tsong was puzzled. Why had it stopped on the trunk? But when he looked up, he realized there was a huge wasp nest on the trunk nearly 30 centimeters in diameter. Damn wasps. Little Hufeng, what's going on with you? Didn't I tell you to find a hornet swarm? Zhao Tsong complained somewhat unhappily, but he quickly realized that perhaps the hornet wasn't very intelligent and couldn't tell the difference between hornets and wasps. Thinking of the medicinal value of a wasp nest, Zhao Tsong stopped complaining and began to ponder how to make this wasp nest his. Actually, the best way to deal with wasps was to attack with fire and smoke. But Zhao did not plan to destroy this wasp nest. He wanted to take it down intact, because a wasp nest could be sold as medicinal material for money. In the end, he chose to drive the wasps away with thick smoke. He gauged the height of the wasp nest from the ground. It was a little over 3 meters, less than 4 meters high. Zhao began picking up dry branches from around the area, and before long, he had gathered quite a lot of them. He piled these dry branches directly under the wasp nest, then prepared plenty of fresh leaves and soil to cover the fire with later. One had to be extremely careful when making a fire in the mountains, because a moment's carelessness could cause a forest fire, so Zhao made thorough preparations. He had found quite a few dry branches, including several thick, dry roots. After everything was ready, Zhao lit the pile of firewood. At first, the flames were still relatively small, but as more and more dry branches burned, the flames grew larger and larger. Very soon, the wasps in the tree sensed that something was wrong, and their buzzing turned panicked. Some of the wasps noticed Zhao on the ground and wanted to fly down to attack him. But before these wasps could get close, the heat waves from the fire had already smoked them down. Faced with such a big fire, these wasps were still too fragile. Many hornets clinging to the nests were smoked down by the heat waves, falling like rain. Seeing this, Zhao grew a little anxious, afraid the heat might ignite the hornets' nests. He hurriedly covered the burning fire with dirt and leaves. The freshly covered fire seemed to quiet down a little, and then a large amount of thick smoke rose from the cracks in the soil and between the leaves. The hornets, thinking they had found a chance, were smoked dizzy by the thick smoke that suddenly billowed out before they could even get close to Zhao, and some of the unlucky ones had already fallen down. Zhao was nervous too. Getting stung by a hornet hurt a lot. But to make money, some risks still had to be taken. Very soon, there were only a few hornets left in the nest on the tree. Zhao came to the foot of the tree and quickly switched into tree climbing mode. Fortunately, he had climbed trees both in his previous life and this life, so he was pretty agile. In just a few moves, he climbed up the tree. Looking at this hornet's nest, about the size of a wash basin, Zhao was overjoyed. After carefully checking once more to see whether there were any hornets left on the nest, he plucked the hornet's nest down in one go. Only when he jumped back to the ground did he realize that the tiger hornet had been protecting him the whole time. At that moment, the tiger hornet was already fighting with 2 hornets, and it was not at a disadvantage even 1 against 2. Some hornets had probably wanted to rush over and teach Zhao, this nest thief, a lesson, but the tiger hornet discovered them, and they ended up losing their lives instead. Just like that, Zhao wandered around the woods at the foot of the mountain for the entire afternoon. He caught another 4 nests of tiger hornets and 8 fairly large hornets' nests. The 4 tiger hornet nests Zhao found all had more hornets than the first nest he caught. Altogether, these tiger hornets numbered close to 3,000. One of the tiger hornet nests was exceptionally large. From that single nest alone, Zhao caught more than 1,500 tiger hornets. After he got home, he briskly went next door and borrowed a small scale from the neighbors. He hung all the net bags containing the tiger hornets on the scale and weighed them carefully. And these tiger hornets actually weighed about 7 jin. My God, he had actually caught so many tiger hornets. Zhao couldn't help exclaiming. It was only because he had the contracted pet tiger hornet. Otherwise, how could he possibly have found so much in a single afternoon? Setting the tiger hornets aside, Zhao then tied all the hornets' nests together with thin string and hooked them onto the scale to weigh them. These 9 hornets' nests actually weighed about 10 jin. Actually, the weight Zhao measured for the hornets' nests was inaccurate, because there were still lots of pupae inside them. It had only been a short while from the forest to home, and some hornets had already begun appearing on the nests one after another. These hornets had just emerged from pupae inside the nests. Some of them still had wet bodies and were shaking out their wings in the sunlight. These were good stuff. The moment Zhao discovered where these hornets were coming from, he became excited at once. He quickly went into the kitchen and found an enamel basin, then found his mother's awl for sewing shoe soles in her room. He sat in the yard and began picking out the bee pupae. Little by little, the number of pupae in the basin grew. By the time his parents and 4th elder sister came back, Zhao had picked out almost all the pupae from the nests. Xiao Wu, where did you get so many hornets' nests? Zhao Tao asked in surprise. Where else could I have gotten them? Of course I got them in the woods, Zhao said irritably, feeling that 4th sister was asking a pointless question. Sun Yueqin was also very happy to see this small basin of pupae Zhao had picked out. This was good stuff, nutritious and tasty. Mom, then make me some of this to eat tonight. Zhao Tsong said somewhat playfully. This. Sun Yuqin suddenly looked troubled again. After thinking for a moment, she said to Zhao Tsong, Xiao Wu, these pupae only taste good when they're fried. But our family has no oil left. How about Mom makes them for you another time? Sun Yuqin looked very troubled. Of course, she also wanted to make something tasty for the children, but the family's circumstances really didn't allow it. Zhao Tsong also knew his family's situation. They probably wouldn't even have dinner tonight, so he agreed. After handing all the pupae over to fourth sister, he dragged all the tiger hornets back into the house. Only then did the family see the tiger hornets Zhao Tsong had in the net bags, and they were nearly scared senseless. Normally, if they saw 1 or 2 tiger hornets like these in the fields, they would avoid them. But now they were seeing net bags densely packed with tiger hornets. Oh my God, Xiao Wu, why did you bring this stuff into the house? Throw it out quick. Throw it out quick. If these things get out, none of us will survive. Hearing his mother say that, Zhao Tsong couldn't help rolling his eyes. So after all my hard work all day, you're just going to make me throw them out? Still, he said to his mother, Sun Yuqin, Mom, I have a use for these things, so just leave them be. I'll keep a close eye on them. I won't let them get out, so don't worry. After saying that, he carried those net bags of tiger hornets back to his room. After returning to his room, he thought about his mother's worries and felt a little scared too. He immediately brought in a large iron bucket from the yard, put the net bags containing the tiger hornets into the bucket, and covered it with a lid. Only then did he feel relieved. When he went out to look for the hornets' nests, he discovered that fourth sister Zhao Tao was holding a hornet's nest in each hand and was about to walk out. Hey, fourth sister, what are you doing? Zhao Tao turned back and glanced at Zhao Tsong, saying, what else would I be doing? Throwing this stuff away. What's the use of keeping it at home? The moment Zhao Tsong heard that, he panicked, hurried over to stop his fourth sister, snatched the hornet's nest from her hands, and said, I still have a use for this stuff, so don't throw it away for me. Honestly, what a spendthrift. Zhao Tao even suspected she had heard wrong. Her good-for-nothing younger brother was actually calling her a spendthrift. After bringing all the hornets' nests into his room, he started thinking about going to find Scarface Yang tomorrow, the man who bought wild game, to ask about the price of hornets' nests and tiger hornets. Scarface Yang was from the neighboring village. He wasn't tall, and his face was full of fierce-looking flesh. There was also a conspicuous scar on that fleshy face, which was how he got his name. People from all the surrounding villages were used to calling him by that nickname, to the point that no one even remembered his real name anymore. As for where exactly Scarface Yang's home was, Zhao Tsong wasn't worried. His mouth wasn't just for eating. If he didn't know, couldn't he just ask? Early the next morning, Zhao Tsong got up bright and early. After his parents and fourth sister saw him, they were only a little surprised and didn't ask any more questions. After they went off to work, Zhao Tsong walked to the neighboring village. The village where Scarface Yang lived was called Taizi Village. It was made up of 3 small hamlets combined together, so it was quite a bit larger than Zhao Tsong's village. After he arrived at Taizi Village, he saw an old man herding cattle by the roadside. Needless to say, the cattle surely belonged to the village production team. Generally, large livestock like this were collective property of the team, and experienced elderly villagers were assigned to tend them. Zhao Tsong walked over and asked politely, Sir, herding cattle? I'd like to ask you something. The old man wore a straw hat, and his skin was still tanned dark by the sun, but he looked quite robust and replied in a strong voice. Young man, what do you want to ask? Zhao Tsong quickly said, I'd like to ask where Scarface Yang's home is in your village. Oh, you're looking for Scarface? That's my nephew. Come on, I'll take you there. The old man was very warm-hearted. Hearing that Zhao Tsong was looking for his nephew, he stopped minding the cattle and was about to lead him there. Sir, your cattle. It's fine. My cattle know the way and won't get lost. Zhao Tsong thought that made sense too. In times like these, who would dare steal a large animal like cattle? If caught, they'd probably be shot. He followed the old man toward the village, and before long, they saw a middle-aged man in an alley. Scarface, this young fellow says he's here looking for you. The old man called out to the middle-aged man first. Young Scarface, who had been wandering around the alley, suddenly heard what his old uncle said. Then he looked at Zhao Zong and immediately burst out laughing. Yo, isn't this Xiao Wu? What brings you here looking for me? What's the matter? When the old man heard that his nephew really did know this young man, he turned around and got ready to leave. Seeing that the old man was about to go, Xiao Wu quickly cupped his hands in thanks for leading the way. The old man waved his hand to show it was nothing, then walked off with his hands behind his back, humming opera tunes. Zhao Zong came back to his senses, and when he heard Yang Batzi call out to him, he figured Yang Batzi must know him. So he searched through the original owner's memories in his mind and quickly found information about Yang Batzi. When Yang Batzi was younger, he had also been a local loafer, but as he got older, he stopped running around like that. Make money. Sell hornets. Because he had often gone to the county town to loaf around in his younger days and knew quite a few people there, he simply took up the job of buying wild game. It was said that he knew quite a few officials in the county town and head chefs at state-run restaurants, and was able to sell off the wild game he collected. That made him something like an unofficial purchasing agent, except his purchasing work wasn't stable and was entirely self-appointed. As for how he knew him, it was because he used to come often to hang out with the village's young loafers, and Yang Batzi had seen Zhao Xiaowu fooling around plenty of times. After figuring this out, Zhao Zong no longer hesitated, and quickly stepped forward and said, "Brother Batzi, I caught a nest of hornets. Do you buy them?" The moment Yang Batzi heard it was about this, he instantly became interested and pulled Zhao Zong toward the courtyard. Come, let's go inside and talk." Zhao Zong also understood what Yang Batzi meant. In this era, what the two of them were doing could easily be seen as profiteering and speculation. But this sort of thing was also very common in the countryside, and everyone knew it perfectly well. Unless someone deliberately reported it, nothing would happen. Once they got into the room, Yang Batzi finally spoke. "Brother Xiaowu, how many hornets do you have there?" As he asked, he kept rubbing his hands together with a grin. Zhao Zong wasn't the useless Zhao Xiaowu of the past anymore. One look at Yang Batzi's manner, and he knew these hornets were probably worth money. So he said, "I just happened to run into one such nest, but catching these things is really hard. If you're not careful, they might sting you. Brother Batzi, you know how formidable hornets are. If they sting you badly, you could be stung to death on the spot." When Yang Batzi heard Zhao Xiaowu say this, he immediately regarded him more highly, thinking, "This kid isn't as dumb as people say. He even knows how to drive up my price." But when he thought about how someone in the county had asked him to find this stuff just 2 days ago, he relaxed, no longer worried that he wouldn't be able to sell it. Thinking of this, Yang Batzi considered for a moment and said, "Brother Xiaowu, I won't lie to you. These hornets are good stuff, but there are different varieties. 4 yellow-waisted hornets, yellow-legged hornets, and black-bellied hornets. Those 3, I'll give you at most 1 cent each. For Chinese giant hornets and black-tailed hornets, I can give you 1.5 cents each. The conversion ratio here is 1 to 300, meaning 1 yuan in 76 is equivalent to 300 yuan today. 1 cent in 76 is equivalent to 3 yuan today. In 2023, the purchase price of hornets is yellow-waisted hornets, yellow-legged hornets, and black-bellied hornets 1, 3 yuan each. The purchase price of Chinese giant hornets and black-tailed hornets is 3, 5 yuan each. The main use of hornets is for soaking in liquor, among which 15 to 20 Chinese giant hornets are enough for 1 gene of liquor. Black-tailed hornets require 20 to 30. Yellow-waisted hornets and yellow-legged hornets require 50 to 60, and black-bellied hornets require 80 to 100. Hornets are an extremely dangerous kind of bee, and if you're even slightly careless, they can even cause death. Aside from professional breeders, very few people dare provoke them. Zhao Zong was directly stunned by Yang Batzi's words. He hadn't expected hornets to be this valuable. He had even been thinking of selling them by the gene, but it turned out they were bought by the individual insect. Zhao Zong didn't know how much money from 76 was worth in modern society. He only knew that a strong laborer could earn only 10 work points a day in the fields. And by the end of the year, those 10 work points might not even be worth 1 mao. Only when things were good could 10 work points be exchanged for 1 mao. Wouldn't that mean that 10 hornets would be equivalent to a full day of hard labor from my dad, Zhao Dezhu? What's there not to agree to? Zhao Zong immediately said to Yang Batzi, "Okay, we'll do as you say, Brother Batzi. I'll bring them over in a little while." Yang Batzi hadn't expected this kid to agree so readily, and immediately said, "All right, Brother Xiaowu, then I'll wait for you." As he left Yang Batzi's alley, Zhao Zong still appeared quite calm. But the moment he walked out of Yang Batzi's alley, he almost jumped up. "Yeah, this time I'm going to make money." Zhao Zong hardly dared imagine that his nearly 3,000 hornets could actually earn him nearly 30 yuan. Just the money from these hornets alone was equivalent to more than 2 months' wages for a worker in a city worker's family. These 30 yuan were even equal to his family's annual income. His father only earned 10 work points for a day's labor in the fields, and 10 work points were equal to 1 mao. Even if his father worked every single day of the year without rest, he'd only make 36 yuan. His mother earned 7 work points a day working in the fields, and his older sister earned 5 work points a day doing field work. But the work points of the mother and daughter had to be exchanged for grain. Otherwise, their family would end up like they were now, unable to get enough to eat. The moment Zhaozong thought about not having enough to eat, he got angry and couldn't help muttering, "What the hell is wrong with Zhao Dezhu? That old bastard? He doesn't even care about his own wife and children anymore." Who knew what kind of spell the original owner's grandparents had cast on him to make him so blindly filial? Zhaozong still hadn't seen how formidable his grandparents were, so at this moment, he was still rather unconcerned. He quickly returned home and opened the wooden bucket to take a look. Luckily, all the hornets were staying properly inside, and none had escaped. He carefully reached into the iron bucket and took out the smallest net bag. This net bag was also the very first nest of hornets he had caught. He roughly counted them, 285. He did the math in his head. That was 2 yuan and 8 mao 5. Zhaozong had no intention of taking all the hornets over in one go, unless he was an idiot. The reason hornets were so expensive was precisely because they were hard to deal with. No one dared mess with them, and their scarcity made them valuable. There was another reason too. People nowadays were relatively simple and honest in their thinking, and hadn't thought that something like hornets could also be sold for money. In the morning, Zhaozong casually found a torn burlap sack at home. He first put the 2 big hornets' nests into it, then also put in the net bag containing the hornets. After that, he carried the torn burlap sack and headed toward Yang Bazi's house. On the way, Zhaozong saw quite a few people from the village, but none of them greeted him. Instead, they kept far away from him. Zhaozong didn't mind their attitude. On the contrary, he was a bit pleased. Making a fortune quietly was his rule for dealing with the world. Just like that, Zhaozong happily made his way to Yang Bazi's house. As soon as he entered, he saw Yang Bazi waiting for him in the courtyard. "Brother Xiao Wu, you're here? Hurry and let your big brother here take a look at the hornets you caught." Yang Bazi looked very anxious and, without another word, wanted to inspect the goods.